there, wholeness. Welcome to my channel. My name is Rashida Silvertree, and today's topic under Rise of the Matriarch, we're going to deal with studying the lineage of the matriarchs. This could be within your family. This could be women that you look up to. Follow and really study what that's all about. Especially women when we live in the patriarchs, when we live in a patriarchal society where the structure of it all is built for men to support men. And guess what? It's shifting. It's not supporting men like it used to anymore. Look at how in the job market men aren't making as much or getting those raises in their salaries as much anymore, or those bonuses that keep them at that job for 20, 30, 40 years. It's shifting. We can say, oh, it's just the economy. Oh, it's just economic shift due to wars or cultural or political unrest. All of that's true. But if we look at it in a metaphysical point of view, as far as the feminine goes, the rise of the matriarch, the rise of the mother, when we look at it through this, it's an age. It is a time to really, truly start studying women, what you are, what you really are, what you're about. It's a very, very powerful time to do this. For example, this is just a simple thing you could do that can make it a little bit easier. Write down on a piece of paper a list of all the women in your family. All of them, aunts, cousins. And if you're not close to them, okay, like if you don't know them very well, then leave them out. But try to write down all the women, even the ones who have passed on, your ancestors. Just write it down on a list. And then next to their name, write down their occupation, what they did. Were they a homemaker? Were they a nurse? Were they an educator? Were they an artist? Were they an entrepreneur? Were they more into sports? I have an aunt, she teaches math, but she's actually very well known down in southern Indiana. She's won, I believe, several championships for her basketball team. She's head coach for the high school basketball team, and so it's, just write it down, and you'll be able to see the certain patterns and use that as a guide for direction and explanation as to why you do some of the things. And it doesn't have to be just people you're related to. It can be, women in your family that are married into the family, because they too bring in an essence into the family as well. But really also you take a good look at your blood connection, right? Direct bloodline. And you'll see a pattern. Oh, okay, my family we have a lot of nurses, or we have a lot of artists, or we have a lot of homemakers. Okay, we have a lot of engineers, women who are just love building things. Oh, yeah, we have a lot of single women, or we have a lot of mothers. Like all the women in my family have children, that type of thing. And then, and you don't have to do this, but look into archetypes for women specifically. Look into archetypes that fit within your lineage. So, for example, if you have a lot of military in your family and you have several of your female relatives who were active in battle, they went to combat, or they were just in military, or they were enlisted, look into that and make that connection to an archetype. I could tell you right now, I'm thinking of the warrior queen, right? You have Athena. This is Greek mythology, okay? But Athena is that goddess archetype of war, of leadership, of thought, of intellect, of wisdom. And so you can really start to tune into the essence of your matriarchal lineage and your matriarchal bloodline. It's actually quite fascinating. And then you can also do this with the patriarchal lineage as well. Like, okay, most of the men in my family, they worked in factories. Okay? And I'm just making this up, right? Or they owned their own business. Many of my uncles were managers of this, or many of my uncles, they enlisted in the military. Or you will begin to see and match the archetypes to the essence of your patriarchal lineage. When you have an understanding and overstanding of the essence within your bloodline, it will clarify much for you. I've mentioned before previously in a video that our reality is already designed for us. Really, our reality is already designed. We chose our parents. We chose most of where we live already. And it's just following our true essence. Sometimes it takes us a while to tune into our essence. It really does. It'll take sometimes years. Like, oh, I went to college and I got my business degree, and then I got a job at the office as an administrator, and I did this job for 16 years, but it never really was my calling. And then one day I decided to take an art class and I fell in love with it. And now, but I don't know if I should leave this job or not to follow my passion for art. And lo and behold, you got a slew of artists in your family that's trying, in your bloodline, that's trying to express itself through you. And you feel this natural calling to like, I gotta express myself, but then you try to fit yourself into another design that wasn't meant for you to begin with. This is another insight I want to share with you since we're on the topic. Sometimes this is a good practice for trauma, for generational trauma as well. Like, think of the worst each family member. Think of the worst that they've done, okay? That's not great. It's not great. But hear me out. Write down their names, so the matriarchal side and the patriarchal side. Write down their names, and then right next to their name, write down the worst thing that they're known for in their life. Whether it be incest, sexual abuse, alcoholism, the type of drug use that they abused, whether they were deadbeat mom or deadbeat dad, they had psychological issues that kept them handicapped, kept them from living a normal life, unfinished businesses, unfinished education, things that weren't like great to talk about, that sometimes when we get with our family and they just kind of poke fun and bring it up anyway. Sorry, I digress. So write that down for both sides, matriarchal and patriarchal, and see the repetition, how that essence expresses itself over and over and over again. And then look at your life and see because you carry that essence within you. The worst of our ancestors, we do. Some deep in those tiny little genes. Okay, tiny little, little gene things. I forgot. I used to know the name of them. Coiled up in our blood cell. Carries these memories within us. We carry it in our every day, in our life, every single day. So this activity will really help clarify some things for you. The best thing that you're able to, the best thing you're able to accomplish in life, and the worst thing that you really should try to stop. Like for me, and my patriarchal lineage and my patriarchal bloodline, there's been his story of drug use and alcoholism, death, debauchery. Okay. There's a section, not all of them, God, no, not all of my relatives, but there definitely is a nice percentage of my male lineage on my side. Not on my dad's, I'm talking about just me. When I think of my patriarchal lineage on both my mom and my dad's side, that was what they brought in. But then the best parts of, or what, the best parts of what they brought in, I have to look at too, because sometimes the worst can override the best that our forefathers brought in and our foremothers brought in. So this exercise is really, really, I feel like really healing. I'm going to try it. I just made this up on the spot. I'm going to try it and see what comes through with that. You know, I think another thing, a really good essence in my bloodline, when I think of my patriarchal side, I could come from farmers. When it comes to career, like what they did, farmers, agriculture. One of the few black farmers in the state of Indiana, you know, during the sundown town days, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Jim Crow era. All right, very, very rare, you know, for a black man who had 12, 13 kids, I think 11 children. And my grandmother was his grandfather. It was her grandfather. Oh gosh, hold on. My grandmother was his granddaughter. Jeez. Whew. Okay, so, you know, like, take a look at that. Study the lineage, your patriarchal and matriarchal lineage. And then you'll see a repetitive pattern of what's being expressed through you. The archetypes. Look into Carolyn Miss. Ooh, powerful woman right there. Archetype. You want to learn about archetypes? You want to learn about aspects of consciousness? Go check her out. I might put a link below in this video because she's dope. She is phenomenal. She's all about accountability, responsibility. And sometimes, let's just say, in your matriarchal or your patriarchal lineage and matriarchal lineage, everyone was just into medicine, like tons of medicine. And so they tell you, okay, well, now you're going to be a doctor too, because your uncle's a doctor and I'm a doctor, your cousin's a doctor, like, and you're just like, you go through it, right? Because it's this very strong essence in your family line, in your familial line, but it's not in your heart. You like, what's something crazy? You like scuba diving. You like the sea. You like going underwater. You like swimming. But everyone's telling you you got to go to med school. And so you're trying to force your way. You're right in the middle of med school and you're trying to force your way in, and you're just like, "Oh my God, it's agony. You're miserable. You're miserable." And so what happens? Oh, I got to Oh, excuse me. I'm keeping that in because this is a real take. I'm not doing all the editing. But you want to break out of that. You want to break out. And so you have a choice in a designed reality. You have a choice to say, you know what? I'm going to break that. I feel I want to move by the sea. I want to live in Hawaii. I want to go to New Zealand. I want to live like, I want to go surfing. I want to go, dive in the Pacific Ocean. I want to study marine biology. That's what I'm about. And your family may not react in such a way. Even your ancestors would be like, man, come on now. And that's when you have to be sovereign. But I will say, for those that have that strong essence to go in certain career paths or certain like education, if you have tons of professors and tons of teachers and, and all that, and you feel called to do that, and you feel called to get into education, you're gonna have it's gonna be strong. You're gonna have a lot of support. I'm not saying your ancestors wouldn't support you if you chose different. I'm just saying, like, it's different when you have a very strong essence, right? In one area, or like, let's say, for example, In my previous video, I mentioned Whitney Houston. Whitney Houston, she's a distant relative of Leontine Price. Leontine Price is a phenomenal opera singer. She was one of the earliest African American singers to sing at Carnegie Hall. She played Aida. She played Cleopatra. She played so many beautiful roles, like powerhouse voice. She's related to Whitney Houston. And then Dionne Warwick. Like there's a whole lineage of songstresses, you know, there's a whole lineage of singers. And so it's like, that's the thing. And for me, even currently, I have a lot of different essences in me. I'm a musician, I'm an artist, there's an entrepreneur that wants to come out. I'm a healer, I work in the healthcare system. I also taught, I'm a traveler. You know, and so it's like you have to allow these different parts of yourself to be expressed. Don't oppress it. Thank you so much for tuning into my message today. You take care, and much love to you.